Dear Mr. Roos, thank you very much for taking the time and coming to this conference and talk to us, sharing some of your very interesting insights and valuable experiences with us. As global leader of the corporate development practice, you have the possibility to observe the effects of the ECB's bond buying scheme. What are these effects and how did M&A activities change due to the large amount of cheap money in the market?
I think you just mentioned part of the answer yourself by mentioning or by using the term cheap money. In a way, the ECB has achieved a somewhat artificially low interest rate environment at the moment, and actually to an amount or to an extent that it's already foreseeable low for the next few years, which injects quite a bit of confidence in the markets. With rates remaining low, refinancing opportunities to stay relatively cheap. So putting people in a more proactive, I would even say aggressive mood with regards to M&A. So I see much more appetite for highly leveraged deals than I would personally sometimes advise my clients to pursue. So in a way, an artificially, I don't want to say dangerous, but at least risky position compared to how some of the players should behave in the markets.
Thank you. How would you say have the latest political developments, such as the Brexit or the election of Trump as the next president of the US, affected economic growth, and what future challenges are to come for the financial industry in particular?
So it's always pretty tough to judge political situations and their impact on the real economic situation mid to long term. But I would clearly say in the short term, the increased level of uncertainty has actually withheld or pulled back some bigger investments that people were ready to be doing. I mean, I don't have to mention Mexico and German automakers in Mexico and how they now have to rethink their position. We are actually advising some clients who are indeed postponing decisions. We see others actually now explicitly investing into the US to show commitment to their domestic market. That's US players. Also some of the big German or big European players who are active in the US try to double down there. But I'm not sure this is going to be a long-term trend. To me, the risks from protectionism or overly protectionistic structures would actually put potential positive benefits too much at risk. So it might be that kind of in the long run it levels out and it potentially actually depresses some economies, maybe the US themselves, maybe the UK. I think for Germany, looking at our very own economy, it's going to stay net neutral. But it will, we have a momentum gap now. Yeah? And I'm sure we will see this momentum gap coming through in 2017, 2018 numbers.
Thank you very much for your insights. Let's move away from the ECB's policy, let's move away from political developments, and let's go forward to BCG. You joined BCG in 1998.
Yes.
And what would you say, what has changed over time in consulting?
In consulting, so I've actually I've aged a bit in this period, I must admit. So I sometimes feel that the speed of the world is increasing. Potentially, I'm only getting a bit slower. But now, for real, in the consulting industry, what has changed? I would say that especially the last 10 years have actually been pretty historical with regards to the change in the consulting industry. If you look at the investments, that especially the bigger firms, and I would include BCG, there in the leading set. I mean, certainly, McKinsey and BCG kind of leading the field in the strategy consultancy space with regards to the investments that those firms have made into expertise and capabilities. It's not that you buy a team by the hour or by the week as it used to be earlier, but you buy capability, you buy explicit expertise, and that has actually influenced the way how we work as BCG. I'm now leading a global practice, and I can tell you my case teams, the project teams that we have on client situations are truly global, which obviously has implications on your career if you consider joining firms like BCG.
Well, that's actually a good point. I would like to ask, what would you advise students who want to join or who are interested in the field of consulting?
So, especially when we're talking about students, so beginning of your career, don't limit yourself too much by focusing too narrowly on one industry or one function. Yeah, don't say, "Oh, I want to be, a banking consultant and only work in banking." I think it's you don't know what you don't know, and as a student, now after being with BCG for 18 years or so, I can tell you, you do only know pretty little of what the reality in one of those leading consulting firms really is. So what I would look for is the footprint that those firms have, footprint in terms of geographies, because if I were you, I would be highly interested in seeing global businesses at work, at traveling, at experiencing the world, but also the capabilities footprint. So I know there are very powerful niche consultancies, specialty boutiques. They're very good in one discipline, but end of the day, you end up running procurement program after procurement program, which obviously makes a lot of sense for your clients, makes a lot of sense for this consulting firm. But if I were you, I would use my first 2-3 years to not only travel the world, but also travel the practice areas, travel the capability map that your consulting firm has to offer. And obviously this is something that kind of speaks for the leading consulting firms in the end. You can always specialize later, but start at one of the blue chip names.
Last but not least, I'm curious, what is your impression of this year's WHU conference so far?
I must admit, I'm again very much impressed by what you guys have pulled off here. Thinking back to my own studies, aside from studying, from having your friends and having a good life, from sports, from a bit of family, carving out time to pull off an event like that really is an achievement. You have done that again. You have done that in a remarkable way with regards to the setup of speakers you have, the formats that you offer in the meantime, and I mean the degree of professionalism here is actually scaringly high. So congrats. This is a great event, and if ever I am allowed to be back here, I will come.
I'm sure. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.